Welcome to the Treasury Update podcast, presented by Strategic Treasurer, your source for interesting Treasury news, analysis, and insights in your car, at the gym, or wherever you decide to tune in.
AFP 2024 is underway at the time of this release. We're recording this the week before. Maybe you're listening to it after you got back. Today, I wanted to go through some of the key insights from AFP in previous years, what Craig expects to see this year, and a few other points. Joining me today is Craig Jeffrey, Managing Partner of Strategic Treasurer. Welcome to the Treasury Update podcast, Craig.
I'm glad to be here, John.
So you've gone to AFP for how many years now?
I don't know how many years I've been to the AFP. I've been to quite a few.
So you've been as an attendee, a practitioner, and an exhibitor. Throughout the years, what have you seen help people be effective at AFP conferences? What should they know?
Well, I think the key thing is you want to network, you want to develop relationships as part of networking that you can build not only year to year at the event, but maintain connections throughout the year, as well as get educated. Get educated by talking to different exhibitors in the exhibit hall and going to the educational session. These are vital. The challenge is if you're an introvert, all of a sudden it's just so many people for so much time, but you got to push through those days to engage and connect with people.
Yeah, there's no rest at the AFP.
No, there isn't. There's not much time for sleeping at the AFP.
Yeah, long days. Last year we did a podcast before 2023 AFP. One of the things that you said in that podcast was that we are at the very beginning of payment growth. And you were referring to payment hubs and a couple other things. How do you see that this year? Have we moved on from the beginning of it? Are we still in those beginning stages?
We have a lot of runway ahead. We have at least 9 years, maybe 10 years of adopting more payment hubs and seeing payment growth happen from different areas. So it's not super rapid. We're still at the beginning stages. We may not be at exactly the beginning. A couple other themes that seem to be emergent and happening are fraud continues. Same thing with the focus on forecasting. Those are always 1 and 2 on people's list. But we see quite a bit more on artificial intelligence, discussions around how are we preparing for that, how are we using it, how will we use it, and then payment security. There's been a massive uptake on people concerned about how do I protect payments after years and years and years of increasing losses and increasing sophistication of criminals. So I know that's a lot of different topics, but those are things that we've been talking about, people have been talking about to us, and we expect to have conversations at the AFP on those topics.
Yeah, more on that fraud. There's been a couple of big fraud cases this year. And you just mentioned payment security being a big hot item for companies. Do you think that will be one of the larger topics this year or just kind of on the side?
It'll have to be one of the larger topics. It's been one of the major topics. Nothing will diminish that this year, probably next year. We're in that zone of payment fraud and concerns about security. There's quite a few sessions you can see. There's a number of vendors exhibiting on the floor. There's training. We'd love to talk to people about that too.
What do you think will be bigger? Payment growth, fraud, AI, forecasting, payment security, or something else?
Fraud and forecasting are going to be number 1 and number 2. I'm not sure that's the exact order. Fraud will be a bigger issue. People want to talk about fraud. What you do to solve fraud is have better security, and payment security is one of the vital areas for that. But people flock to fraud sessions and content. They love hearing about cases. They're a little less vigorous and energetic about hearing about how to protect yourself from that.
We'll see if you're right on that. As a company, what do you gain from AFP?
As an exhibitor for us, it gives us lots of opportunities to talk with our partners, our corporate client partners, to talk about what they're doing, engage with existing customers, to talk to prospects, figure out what's going on, what are their plans, to re-engage and advance those conversations. So this is a great time to talk and catch up with many people all at once. On the vendor side, we do a lot of work with different banks and different fintechs, and there's a whole mass of them there, and we get to catch up with a lot of them. What are they doing? What are they planning on seeing? There's usually a link to content, thought leadership that we create and work and partner with them, everywhere from research to executive guides and other content that help engage the the market in a way that's educational, informative, and then, the benefit of having engaged conversations then is you're there when they need something.
So where can people find us on the exhibit floor?
So if you go to the exhibit hall on the floor, we're in booth 609. That may not make any sense to people just to think about numbers, but the numberings goes from left to right in terms of columns. And so we're the 6th row over. We're on the middle aisle, the aisle where AFP is. So we're on the left side, 6th row, 609. We have a 30 by 30 booth on the main aisle. I'll just say it. I'm not sure where it is actually on the from a directional standpoint, but south as you look at the map on the bottom side of that map on the center aisle. We have plenty of places to catch up in our booth. We have, Kai will probably tell you all about some of the prizes and games we have to capture information and make it fun to get a useful giveaway. And there's some fun stuff, some things focused on payment security, bank fee management, and then some of the other services that we have.
Let's hear from Kai on more about what's going on in the booth. Kai, welcome back to the Treasury Update podcast.
Thanks for having me, John. I do this once a year.
Yeah, once a year, against your will. Before we get into what's going on this year, last year we had some hiccups with the game. Do you want to describe it?
We had a little delay in shipping. The item I was waiting for was delivered a week after AFP, even though I had ordered it in April. So it has arrived 50 weeks early for this year's conference. So we will be bringing a lotto machine to our booth this year.
Yeah, so for anyone that wasn't in the booth last year, we ended up changing the game from the lotto machine into
like a coin capsule machine, like you remember from a kid that used to spit out a prize in a little 2-piece capsule. But this year we've got the real machine. There's a bunch of foam balls in the lotto machine. We started off with ping pong balls, and then we realized that the lotto machine is quite loud. So we kind of had to change plans a little bit, and we found foam balls that work. So the lotto machine will be filled with foam balls. People will reach in and grab a ball at random as it's blowing around. And there's special prizes on those. We're giving away gift cards, and then also a couple of lucky winners will walk away with Bose earbuds.
That'll be a pretty cool prize. What else in the booth can people come and see?
So we're going to have our business development team there and our senior consultants that'll be there to answer any questions for you. We've got a brand new hot off the press 2024 analyst report. Great report this year, 18 vendors in the analyst report covering the latest in Treasury tech. We're going to heavily be promoting a upcoming webinar on bank fee management. And kind of being in the dark. So we got some special prizes around that too. If you stop by, we'll be shining a light on bank fees.
Cool.
That's a little hint.
Well, you sound like you're pretty excited for AFP.
I'm ready. Let's do this. Nashville, here we come.
Craig, do you have any final thoughts?
If you're at the AFP and you're listening to this now, come see us at booth 609. If you're not, please contact us to have conversations. We have a lot of people who are happy to catch up on what's going on. If there's anything that we can work on together now or sometime down the road, would love to just catch up so that we're ready to support you when you might need it. You can see that information in the show notes.
And if you've listened to this while you're at the AFP and you come talk to Craig, tell him you listened to this Monday's episode. That will bring him a lot of joy. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for bringing me joy.
Reached the end of another episode of the Treasury Update podcast. Be sure to follow Strategic Treasurer on LinkedIn. Just search for Strategic Treasurer. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only, and statements made by Strategic Treasurer LLC on this podcast are not intended as legal, business, consulting, or tax advice. For more information, visit and bookmark strategictreasurer.com.